We're here for the alcohol beverage control hearing. Meeting called to order.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Here.
DePena?
Here.
Natari?
Here.
Robel?
Here.
And Deputy Mayor Graziano.
Here.
Our first case this evening is Kelly's Crew LLC, trading as JK's Boathouse at 558 Washington Avenue.
They're going to talk to you.
Jason. KC's here. Where is he? Oh, we got him? Kelly?
I
think
it's right outside
the porch.
No.
Who you know?
Yeah. Prosecutor will be here soon.
Everyone's like, he gets here first, gets the
Yeah. It turns it on.
She's right here. She called you up already.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, that's fine. Good evening, council. Bernard Camilli representing. All right, the first case is the Township of Belleville versus JK Boathouse. We're going to be calling Sergeant Reyes as our main witness. All right, Sergeant Reyes, I want to take your attention to September 8th of 2022. Do you remember that day? Did you have a key?
Hang on one second.
Is he legally sworn in? Yes. I don't have an oath. On your file? Is it in your office?
Yes, I got it.
Just give me one minute.
There's definitely a Bible out. Kelly? Karen's bringing it.
Święta cudowna babciu, co pytał.
Take a brief minute.
Whatever we say, the state has to approve it. Set it in the state and then deal with it. That's how it works. Whatever's decided here is considered under the state. The state approves of it. Word.
You got your steps in. You got your steps in.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
What's your, yeah, can you, what's your name, please?
Sergeant Raphael Reyes, Logan Police Department.
Thank you.
Ready to proceed?
We're ready to proceed.
Sergeant Reyes, I want to take your attention to September 8th of 2022. Do you remember this day?
I do, sir.
Did you have occasion to go to 558 Washington Avenue, also known as JK's Boathouse on this day?
I do, sir. Yes.
All right, what, if anything, did you observe?
On this day, I was working patrol, sir, to respond to the location.
Yeah.
It's a specific location for a assault individual at this location. Upon arrival, a male stated he was assaulted by several males in the rear parking lot. EMS was called to the scene. We spoke with several witnesses, specifically a bartender by the name of Tabitha Genovese, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
And where we smelled and, you know, the scent of alcohol coming from her breath this time. In conclusion to that whole scenario, we actually took a report for simple assault, and afterwards, we began our investigation.
And you indicated that the assault occurred in the back parking lot, is that right?
That's true, sir.
And was that parking lot within the vicinity of JK Boathouse?
Yes, within the immediate vicinity.
And that's part of their property?
It is, sir.
And the individual that you mentioned earlier that had the scent of alcohol, was she an employee of JK Boathouse?
Yes, she was. She was the sole bartender at the time.
And how do you know that?
After reviewing surveillance footage there, then we were recommending that it would be turned over to the ABC enforcement unit. We were able to review that she was the only bartender at that time on that location.
And the individuals that were involved in this assault, were they patrons of JK's Boathouse?
Yes,
And how do you know that?
because we observed on surveillance footage.
So you were able to observe them inside of JK Boathouse, and then outside of JK Boathouse, they got into that physical fight?
That's correct. We observed them commenced within the bar and then exited out the exterior of the bar.
So the physical activity started inside the bar and then went outside?
So the disagreement started inside the bar, led to the exterior.
All right. As a result of what you observed, did you issue any summonses?
We did, sir.
Could you tell us what you issued?
We issued summonses for prohibition against immoral activities, disturbances, and nuisance on premises. That's 13:2-23.6. We also issued intoxicated workers prohibited. That's 13:2-23.20. And we also issued the standard liability, 13:2-23.2.
All right, nothing further from the state.
Council have any questions?
Counsel, Mr. Tully? Any questions?
Do you have any previous charges against the establishment?
Not during my
Just
period
first.
of being assigned to the scene, sir.
Can we ask you, Chief? Do you remember anything?
Not under this previous owner, no. I'm
Okay.
gonna say no.
Okay.
And there's going to be a change, I guess, coming up here?
I believe that's in the works right now, Councilman, yes. It's actually on the agenda tonight, yeah.
Yes, it is.
But, Sarge, you have a recommendation for this council?
I do, yes,
Penalty?
being that it is under actually our investigation and we sent it for approval for a transfer, sir. Our recommendation would be a warning, because there will be a new ownership. And just, you understand that the ownership, understand that the process of what could happen, things can work out.
Understand?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that, too.
Anybody else have any further questions?
I don't know if this is within what we can ask, but is the bartender still working? Like, does something happen to that person's license?
Well, there is no licenses within our township. We do not have an ordinance for licenses for bartenders here. But she was cited for that day as well, for the service.
That was the-
Yeah.
She received
Goes to
summons.
John.
Councilwoman, she's liable to her employer, and she puts her employer at risk, and that's why we're here tonight in front of the ABC board, which is you guys. Again, any future occurrences involving this bartender, naturally, our local ABC will cite them and they'll be dealt with differently. But the recommendation of the ABC sergeant is a warning at this time. Because the new ownership will take place. Now, if the new bartender is going with the new ownership, that we do not know.
But it still falls under the owner's responsibility.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's under the standard of liability.
gotcha. Anyone else?
Do we have to make a motion?
We have to vote?
I'll make a motion to accept the sergeant's recommendation.
Second? We have to vote?
Yes. Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Graziano?
Yes.
Okay, number 2.
Okay. Okay.
Second case is Kisna Corp. Trading as Raymond Wines and Liquors at 155 Washington Avenue.
That's a view.
know that, they can.
No, we just agreed on it here. It's gonna go to the state and then after. So this, yes,
Okay.
So you can initiate that.
Yeah.
Or sure, you could accept the 3 days, you can accept the 3 days notice, something like that. Okay. That's what I think. When the state makes the recommendation on behalf of. Yeah, it's not right away. Tell the state, listen, you know, 3 days can do this, that. Everything else.
Yeah.
See, it'll say, come to a resolution. Yes. No, I said I'll do it for the state. You can do that here too. Sounds familiar. Yeah, I know, Joe. You can do it here too. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
We have to go through the hearing.
No, I think okay. So we spoke, yeah, they might want to hear it. You could ask them, resolution, do you want to hear the case? That's what I would do.
I think they would want to hear,
That's what I did too, Counselor, yes.
if you worked out a court.
I would at least hear the facts of the case, if you just want to call the sergeant up, Casey, and Mr. Prosecutor, and.
Just like any other plea,
Yeah.
they'd have to hear
That's fine.
the basis for accepting the, whatever.
All right, we'll just do that real quick.
Yep, sworn
All right, good evening, council. Mark Camilli for the state, representing the township of Belleville. Sergeant Ramos is our main witness. Sergeant Reyes is our main witness. He's already sworn in. And this is the matter of State v. Ramos Liquor.
Ramo.
Is it Ramos?
Ramos.
Ramos. I've been getting my name butchered my whole life, so.
Yeah, you get it fast.
Sergeant Reyes, I want to take your attention to August 24th of 2022. Do you recall this date? Did you have occasion to go to 155 Washington Avenue, specifically Ramos Liquor?
I do.
What, if anything, did you observe on this day?
At this time, I observed one of the employees drinking in public.
Speak up, please.
At this time, I observed one of their employees, sir, drinking in public outside, in front of the location.
Did you obtain the name of that employee?
Anthony G. Domenico.
And how were you aware that that employee was drinking in public? What did you see?
I observed him sitting on the floor with his legs crossed. Specifically, I believe it was a Bud Ice at that time, it was a can. He was sitting down and drinking it right in front of me.
He was drinking a Bud Ice,
Yes, a can of
so
Bud Ice.
Budweiser Ice.
Yes, that's correct.
And how did you know that he was an employee of Ramos Liquor?
Our patrol units, as well as myself, have dealt with this individual multiple times at this establishment as a worker. And we have also spoken with ownership, and we've also spoken with all the other employees at this time who are verifying being employed.
And based on that information, you determined that he was in fact an employee of that establishment?
That's correct.
Were there any other observations that you observed that day?
On that day specifically, sir, there was not. We did conduct an investigation due to this observation.
All right, well, what if any fines were issued to Ramos Liquor?
Fines that were issued to Ramos Liquor were for consumption of alcohol beverages and possession of open containers prohibited upon retail distribution license premises. That's 13:2-23.11. We also issue a fine for prohibition against immoral activities, disturbances, nuisance on premises. That's 13:2-23.6. We also issued an intoxicated workers prohibited. That's 13:2-23.20. And we also hit them with standard of liability, 13:2-23.28.
What, if anything, caused you to issue the 2-23.11 penalty?
That would be the observation that was made on August 21st.
And what, if anything, caused you to issue violation 2, which is 23.6?
That was due to the investigation as well as the observations of August 24th. The investigations led us to find that there was 13 calls of service since May of that year, as well as including fighting, DWIs, arrest made of DWIs by our patrol units, drinking in public, and harassment of several of the establishments right next to us.
And those complaints were related to the liquor store specifically?
Yes, that's correct.
What, if anything, caused you to issue ticket 2-23.20?
On the findings that Anthony DiDomenico was in fact an employee of this establishment, or a helper of this establishment, would still put him as an employee of this establishment. Whether or not he's on a check basis or any type of payment, he's still an employee of this establishment.
So the facts that you've provided to council based upon your observations of August 24th of 2022 were the reasons behind the issuance of the intoxicated employee fine, is that right?
That's correct.
And what, if any, recommendation does the township have for these penalties?
The police department has recommended that there be a 3-day suspension of service from that establishment due to the fact that this has been a consistent nuisance in the quality of life within our township, especially on the main avenue, specifically in front of our township, town hall. So 3 days would be our recommendation.
Nothing further.
And there's, from the ABC's point of view, does council have any comments? Council for the
No, Judge, I just want to make 2 comments. One, just for your edification, Your Honor, I'm so used to saying Your Honor, but still Your Honor. The 3 days is acceptable, first of all, so we stipulate that. We are willing, okay, to, in lieu of the suspension, to make a certain payment each day to the town. I understand that that's a possibility. I believe the state makes the ultimate determination, but if you approve it at this point, then at least the state can consider it. Instead of the actual closing of the business will still be open. All proceeds and all profits would go to the town. That's the way, that's something that's been done. I think it's been done in Belleville before, but certainly in other municipalities. And the last thing is the 3 days. Okay. You make the ultimate determination as to what 3 days they would have to close. But on their behalf, I am recommending that it not take place immediately. When I say immediately, I mean within the next couple of days, because what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to plan this.
Right.
That, just so you know, this board doesn't recommend the dates. It'll go to the state.
Okay.
The state will
They will
determine, and they will send it back to us to give notice of the 3 days.
Okay.
The clerk will get, I believe the clerk gets that notice.
Yeah, okay. Then I would make a recommendation here, and that's how the state would know that the recommendation is made. But in any event, other than that, there's nothing else. Yeah, the days, what we are recommending would be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week.
But I don't, it's gonna take longer than that. We're talking about the state here, so it could be 2 months, 3 months, more.
Or whatever.
Okay, Kelly believes it's gonna be 6 months.
Your prosecutors, right away.
Well, because,
Oh, we joke.
yeah, 6 months, Kelly believes it's gonna be 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So,
There you go. He's
you know,
6 months.
whenever it comes, it comes. In the meantime, I know the board here
It's better.
wants them to. So,
Yeah, I just have a question. In waiting for the time to come, right, for those 3 days from the state, what happens if anything happens in between, and right, what happens, and the infraction happens between now and then? Does that a separate?
yes. Anything, every day is a separate offense. If that happens every day, they get.
They will come before this excise board again.
Same thing, same
They
process.
do it track.
Okay, okay.
And if it's determined at that time that there's another infraction, this time can be used to determine your punishment.
It only gets worse from there.
I got you, okay.
They know it only gets worse.
And if I may,
Yes.
just interject, just the board's aware, they are possibly facing up to 90 days suspension. So I believe the police department's been very lenient with the 3-day suspension.
We appreciate that, and
It is, it's,
So it could go from 3 days all the way till 90 days, is that what you're saying?
90 days concurrent, yes.
Okay, and I did want to, I had a question in regards to payment in lieu. Is there some type of, I don't know, like how do we know what's appropriate for that, if that's been done, like in the past? Like, how much are you paying? Is it based on the infraction?
State decides the amount.
The state decides
The
that?
state decides
The
to.
state, yeah, made that determination.
Okay.
Anthony Domenico is no longer
Yeah, yeah. The
employed.
state, if we said the state.
All right, so he's gone.
If you said this fine, in lieu of it, the town would accept the fine, the state would accept that. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it's
Exactly.
I don't recommend that, my personal opinion. I don't recommend that.
We just go with 3.
Yes, the 3 days. My recommendation, I don't know everybody else's.
John agrees.
So a motion to
3 days.
go with 3 days?
I make a motion for 3 days?
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Graziano?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. At this-
Take care.
I think so. Good.
All right.
You good?
You got away with
Take
murder.
care. Nice seeing you guys.
At this time, we're going to take a recess till our meeting starts at 6 o'clock.